Turner, who serves as Bernie's campaign co-chair, was on Chris Cuomo's show debating a Democratic strategist named Hilary Rosen. You might be familiar with Hilary Rosen. If you're not, I apologize for what you're about to see, because this debate had to do with Martin Luther King Jr., what he stood for, what he represented, and what he feared when it came to the white moderates in America. Take a look.
Referenced Dr. Martin Luther King before, saying that he said from the Birmingham jail that we should be concerned about white moderates. That's actually not what Martin Luther King said. What he said is we should be worried about the silence of white moderates.
Are you kidding me?
Nina, wait.
No, she's making a language point.
What he said was we should worry about the silence of white moderates. And what we have in Joe Biden is a man who is not silent.
The Reverend Chris, what Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about, he said it is the point that the white moderate wants things to be comfortable, and instead of focusing in on that, the bigger threat is not necessarily the white KKK member, but more the white moderate that is more comfortable with keeping things the same or pretending like there is no tension.
Don't use Martin Luther King against Joe Biden. You don't have that. You don't have that standing.
First of all,
I'm sorry, you don't.
Don't tell me what kind of standing I have as a black woman in America. How dare you?
You have a lot of standing as a black woman in America. You don't have the standing to attack Joe Biden using Martin Luther King's words.
Chris Cuomo had a mini stroke.
That was the first time that I actually, for some reason, was paying attention to Cuomo's face.
It's incredible.
This was going
He's
down.
stroking out. He's like, oh my God.
He's like, yikes. Okay, but let's talk about the substance of that debate, that discussion, because it was something. Do you want to start, Helen?
Listen. Nina Turner is a national treasure. We need to make a movie about her starring Nicolas Cage because she is a goddamn national treasure. And if you come for Nina Turner, your ish better be airtight like Tupperware. Because if your ish is not airtight, she gonna come back at you, okay? And don't tell a black person that they don't know about Martin Luther King. Get out of here, blonde lady. Come on.
Let me just also give you a little more like biographical information about Hilary Rosen so you understand, the types of things that she said in the past and the kind of trouble she's gotten in. So she's a Democratic strategist, which means that she's part of this
one of the worst people in the world.
The current power structure that we're operating under, right? Yeah. She benefits from it, okay? So she wants the status quo. She wants someone like Biden and is terrified by someone like Bernie Sanders. And so in the past, though, she said some not so nice things about stay-at-home moms, something about how they're not really working, they're not workers, even though being a stay-at-home mom, I would argue, is the hardest job in the world, okay? If you have children and you get to go to a workplace, you're actually taking a vacation from the actual work that takes place when you're at home. Anyway, but that's just my opinion. What Hilary Rosen said back in the day about working moms was so bad that the Obama administration had to distance themselves from her. That's the kind of woman she is. And I'm about to give you her insanely offensive non-apology to Nina Turner in just a second, but keep going.
So Martin Luther King, who, for the record, was a socialist, would have absolutely hated Joe Biden. He would have absolutely hated Joe Biden. Joe Biden made his political career as a young Democratic politician in the 1970s by being the first Northern liberal to oppose school busing, right? The racist Southern Democrats always opposed school busing to integrate schools, but the Northern liberals mostly supported it. Joe Biden was the first defector of the Northern liberals to give cover to the rest of the Northern liberals to oppose busing, right? That's why Strom Thurmond, one of the most racist people in the history of the United States, loved Joe Biden and asked him to speak at his funeral, okay? So Martin Luther King would have absolutely hated Joe Biden because liberals at the time of Martin Luther King, when he was alive, hated him. Liberals found him annoying. They found him to be too loud. They found his supporters to be annoying. Does this sound familiar? They were always saying like, Dr. King, we support what you want. We support your goals. We want racial equality. We want all these things. We just don't agree with your methods. We don't want you to disrupt things too much. You have to be polite. You have to be nice to these people to win them over. All this stuff. Does this sound familiar?
Yes, you have to be patient.
Yeah.
You have to wait your turn.
And
not yet.
And that's what Dr. King was talking about. That those people are just as much of an impediment to progress as the sort of frothing at the mouth reactionaries on the right.
And that's exactly what Nina Turner was trying to draw attention to in bringing up Martin Luther King Jr. and what his beliefs were and what he meant by that statement regarding white moderates. And so you would think, all right, well, you know how you hear a lot about mansplaining?
Yeah.
And it happens time to time. That was the race version of mansplaining.
Yeah.
That was race-splaining.
Black-splaining.
And it was so incredibly patronizing and insulting. But if you thought that was insulting, let's go to Hilary Rosen's first attempt at an apology, which ended up being so bad she took it down from Twitter. I'll read it to you and maybe you can figure out why it was so bad. She wrote the following. On air Thursday, I said my colleague Nina Turner didn't have standing to use MLK Jr. That was wrong. I am sorry for saying those words. Please, no need to defend me and attack angry black women.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe.
I can't believe.
Wow.
I shouldn't say I can't believe. I can believe.
It's again. This is like this 2020 has been one of the most clarifying times. That's one of the benefits. That's one of the silver linings of 2020. That's very clarifying because for so long liberals pretended to care about this kind of stuff.
You're right.
They pretended to care about like white women talking down to black women. Like they used to always. And now that like Joe Biden is leading the ticket, they're like, we can't care about that stuff anymore. We just gotta put our heads down and pretend it's not happening. And they don't care about any of it now. They've just completely thrown all that stuff that they used to pretend to care about because they never actually cared about it.
The propping up of Bloomberg.
Yes.
And his sexism.
Yes.
His racism, that really crystallized it for a lot of people. I mean, it crystallized it for me as well, but I had already realized prior to Bloomberg running that it goes further than even what you say, Nando. And maybe I'm being unfair, I don't know, this is my speculation. Not. I don't think they ever cared.
They didn't
about marginalized groups of people.
Well, that's what I said. They used to pretend to care about it.
They pretended to care to exploit, to use them for their own political gain.
Yeah.
That was all it was.
Yeah. I mean, the whole Biden camp is like I was Obama's vice president. He's like I have a black friend on a giant level. Like I have the ultimate black friend. I had Obama as my black friend. But let's not forget why Obama picked Biden as his vice president in the first place is to calm down the scary white people.
Yeah.
Right?
Like this black man's not gonna do anything too crazy.
Yeah, look, he picked like you were saying, the most right, the Democrat who was as far right as he could get to be his running mate, to not freak out the fact that they were voting for a black guy for president. Right. So let's not forget that. So the whole campaign is like, I have a black friend, like the ultimate black friend. It's all baloney.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.